Hi.
How are ya?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Just turning up my volume. Happy Friday. We made it.
Happy Good Friday. Happy Passover.
Absolutely. Spring has sprung.
Yep, absolutely.
So, thank you for everyone who's joining our second live. Um,
Yay.
Lexi and I realized that last time we did this, we didn't really explain who we were or what we do
Yeah,
with the YWCA.
right.
So, Lexi, who are you?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm Lexi. I work at the YWCA Greenwich and in the Department of Domestic Abuse Services. So I'm the youth advocate there. I'm a licensed social worker. And kind of my job consists of like half what we call prevention and half intervention. And Rosie's going to talk a lot about the prevention piece. But basically it just means like preventing like the um, unhealthy behaviors and relationships and things like that. And the intervention side is more of like the counseling. So I do some individual counseling with children, teens, and some adults.
Awesome.
Mhm.
And everyone, my name's Rosie Enyart, and I'm the youth engagement and community educator. So my job is solely prevention. And what I do is mainly I teach young people about our relationships and what makes them healthy, what makes them unhealthy. I help to write curriculum. I help to collect data to find out if what we're doing is effective. So that's our role within the YWCA. We work at Domestic Abuse Services, and we spend a lot of our time with young people. So
Yeah.
we try to stay relatable to them.
Yes, we try. Sometimes we succeed, sometimes we don't.
That's right.
um, so today we're going to be talking a lot about negative and positive self-talk, and we do this a lot, especially with a group that we run called Girls Circle. And during the school year, we run this group in some of the middle schools in Greenwich, and um, it's an evidence-based, structured support group for girls and youth who identify with female development. And it's designed to build self-esteem and resiliency and promote positive connections. And we do some activities and sharing and games. And Rosie and I do the Girl Circle camp over the summer.
That's right. So over the summer, we do a 2 week long intensive version of Girl Circle with about 10 girls in a day program, a summer camp day program. Um, and so we sort of structure that, Lexi, like in the morning we do groups. And then do you want to tell us a little bit more about what we do in the afternoon?
Right. So we have a structured circle time in the beginning of the day with our Girl Circle summer camp girls. And they every day the circle time kind of has a theme that will connect to an activity we do in the afternoon. So we always start like our first day doing team building, and we typically go to a ropes course to do some team building, and it's really fun. Everyone kind of steps outside their comfort zone. Some people are more comfortable climbing a tree. I'm very comfortable doing things like that. I know for Rosie, it wasn't super comfortable for her.
Sure isn't. Not a
But
big
the
fan of heights myself.
but she conquered her fear, which was amazing, and she did it. Um, and it's a really good example of how maybe one day you might feel comfortable doing one thing. Like I was very comfortable doing the ropes course, but on another day, we had a theme of like breaking gender stereotypes, and we went to a martial arts studio and did some martial arts, and that's not something that I typically was something that I would like normally do or was comfortable with, but maybe for Rosie it might be different. And so for every girl in our group, one day they might be stepping out of their comfort zone or something that they are very like experienced or comfortable doing.
Yeah. Um, it's very fun. And so some of the different activities that we do together can be moving for us as adult women, just as much as it might be for the participants. And so one of those activities that we do is called Inner Critic, Inner Champion. And so really this is a discussion on the negative self-talk that we might have sort of internally going on, that tape playing, versus positive self-talk, and how the two might really change how we have our day, how we experience our day, depending on which tape is playing in our head. So again, like negative self-talk is that little tiny voice in our heads that discourages us or makes us feel bad or inadequate or unattractive or unproductive, right? And we often hear this voice way more than we hear an encouraging, kind voice in our own heads.
Yes.
So if you're watching, we would like to do this activity together. And so I'm going to encourage you to close your eyes. And if you feel comfortable, just listen to my words and listen to the inner critic.
I'm going to close my eyes.
Okay. I'm not good at it. I give up. This is way too hard. I can't make this better. I just can't do it. I made a mistake. I always make mistakes. I'm anxious. I'm so lazy. I'm not good enough. Okay, so we can open our eyes. And for any of you watching, or for you, Lexi, if you feel comfortable, can you share like how it felt to hear those words?
Not good. I mean, just the feeling in my body was like my hands were clenched and my shoulders were kind of like up, and I like my just nothing felt good in my body, and I felt like some anxiety, like feelings of discomfort in my stomach. It's just not good.
It's so funny too, because as I was saying the words, I felt like nauseous in my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so funny that like I definitely say these things to myself in my head like 55 times a day, right?
Same. That's like all I hear, like on repeat, just like it just creeps in.
Yeah, absolutely. So now let's switch it up and let's hear what the inner champion might be saying to us.
Yes. So again, if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. I'm going to read through what our inner champion voice in our head is saying. Okay. Okay. I can get better with practice. I'm on the right track. What strategies can I use to keep going? I can always improve. I can give it my best shot. Mistakes help me learn. I can take a deep breath. I'm doing the best I can with the tools I have. I am good enough. So when you're ready, you can open your eyes. How did that feel for you, Rosie?
It felt good. It felt like I didn't feel as constricted. I felt like more free. And I like a lot of what was said, like what strategies can I use? What tools can I use in this situation? Like I didn't feel like I was like trapped in a corner, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, even for when I was reading it, I felt lighter. I kind of felt like my shoulders were like back and more confident. Just even the feelings in my body felt more comfortable and more happier, if that's a thing, more happier.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so interesting how, I mean, I'll tell you that I have to really work hard to have the inner champion in my brain. Like I have to invite the inner champion in, whereas the inner critic just sort of lives there.
Yes.
In like a rent controlled apartment.
Yes, agreed. Totally.
So what do you think this means about the power of words?
I think that the power of words are so powerful. And it's almost as if like we don't really notice how much power those words have over us. Like the way that these words in our heads kind of impact the way that we feel and then the way that we behave. So if we're listening to the inner critic in any aspect of our lives, at work, at school, at home, even in like if you're part of a sports team, that's going to impact the way that you will feel about the way that you're doing things and then the way that you behave. So it's going to actually contribute to things not going in the way that you want them to because you're kind of stuck in that.
Yeah, totally. I feel like like the power of words that I say to myself are important, but now I'm also thinking about like the how much impact I can have on other people, right? So like if I'm critical of others, that could really kind of damage them and make them feel really icky. But if I'm supportive or flexible with other people in the way that I talk to them, I can have such a better impact on their whole day, right? Their whole like experience.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that we might be even quicker to like be able to do that with other people before we can do that with ourselves. I know that I'm very mindful of the way that I speak to the people in my life in my life, so that I'm not putting them down in the way that like I would put myself down, but I'm like quicker to have the ability to get there than like for myself it needs more practice.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so interesting to me too, just as, you know, the two people who facilitate these groups, right, so often is that um, the inner critic comes to live with us very young in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's there with like sixth graders, you know, um,
Yeah.
and that's why it's so hard to kind of kick the inner critic out, you know?
Yeah. It's so, I mean, like you said, they're like in our heads, they're there to stay, they live there, they pay rent, and it's just something that kind of comes with us. We come out and it comes with us.
Right, right, exactly.
The other stuff we have to work on.
Right. We have to build the inner champion voice in our minds.
Right.
Um,
How do you think you can combat the inner critic?
hmm. Well, I think number one, it's very important to notice that the inner critic is there, you know,
Yes.
because I think that sometimes I'm not paying super close attention to my own thoughts or to what I'm saying to myself throughout a day. And if I bring some awareness to what I'm thinking about, I think that's kind of the first step, is to even know that the inner critic is like chatting it away up there.
Yeah.
Um, and then combating that with, you know, like an opposite thought or an opposite action. Um, but I have to tell you that it requires a level of mindfulness that is not like innate in me. You know, like I have to build a skill really to be able to do that. Do you agree?
I 1000% agree. Like, just like you would need to build a muscle in the gym, it's like a muscle that you have to build like in your soul.
Yeah, yeah,
You're definitely spot on with like mindfulness is kind of just like noticing when those things are happening, because we can go throughout our day and not really be thoughtful about how that's operating in our brain, and then that just like takes us into like a bad day.
right,
But if we can kind of catch it and be like, okay, like I'm feeling really negative, how can I reframe this negative thought to kind of boost my either my productivity or like my mood even.
right. Do you think that the inner critic and the inner champion are um, at play for you at all during COVID-19?
Yes.
Same.
It's kind of like a roller coaster. On one day I feel like very like i'm I'm being conscious of the things that I'm doing during the day, and I'm also being patient with myself, like it's okay if I don't do the thing that I said I was going to do because I've got plenty of time to do it. And other days I'm totally at that bottom, like I just don't feel good at all.
Same. So it's so funny because I had a lot of really big plans for myself when it became clear that like this was the new normal for a while. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, I was gonna like become a runner, and I was gonna like Marie Kondo my whole apartment and organize everything and like stay really hydrated. And you know, I was just gonna like just be glowing. And like maybe like 1 out of 7 days a week do I like nail it with all of that. And the
Mm-hmm.
rest of the time I'm like, I mean, I can barely get out of bed, you know, some days. And I think that it's the inner champion. Like I need to have an inner champion telling me like, dude, it's really okay. You
Right.
know?
Right. I totally agree. I think that there's a lot of pressure on social media and even in other areas of our lives that are kind of telling us like this is the time to like write that novel and like do that thing. And
Yeah.
sure, if that's what makes you feel good and on some days you might be able to get there, but it's okay if not every day feels amazing and you feel super inspired. Like if you get out of bed and your feet hit the floor and you take a shower, like that's enough.
That's right. That's right.
That's enough for me, okay?
That's right. A shower is, you've already gone past the finish line.
Right.
Gold
Right.
star. Yeah, I mean, I think it's, like these types of activities are really important for adults for sure. I mean, I think you and I get a lot out of doing them with young people.
Yeah.
But it's also, like such it's a cool opportunity to teach young women tools to kind of help them navigate some of those negative feelings and low self-esteem that, as we sort of identified, like they've been with us as long as we can remember.
Right. Exactly. I love when we have kind of that light bulb moment when we're teaching or when we're doing a girls circle group where people really get it. And I can speak for myself that I wish that I had Alexia or Rosie in my life to kind of show me the way.
Right.
But
so again, as we mentioned, Lexi and I's primary role at the YWCA Domestic Abuse Services is really teaching young people. And so we engage young people in conversations about relationships, feelings identification. Lexi does a lot more of the like actual counseling stuff. She's a rock star. And so we do a lot of work with young people, with teens, but there are so many more people like us doing very similar work throughout the rest of our department.
yeah.
And so we have a hotline. If anyone out there wants to engage with us, talk to us, talk to someone about a relationship that you're having that might feel uncomfortable, unsafe, you can call our hotline. And that number is 203-622-0003. And then we also have an email address, right? I don't remember.
It's all good. I have it written down. So if you have any questions specifically kind of related to what we talked about today or a relationship, you can send an email to community.ed@ywcagreenwich.org. And we will do our best to get back to you in a way that you feel comfortable with us reaching back out to you.
And that, that goes for if you're a parent and you're interested in the type of work that we do with young people, with young women, the work that we do with young men, the work that we do in the classroom. You can also reach out and just ask us any questions. You can direct message us on Instagram. We actually, Lexi, I don't know if you can see in our comments, but we had someone say that you girls are the best, and we thank you for that compliment.
Thank you.
We needed that. We really needed that in trying times. But if you do have any questions for us, if you have suggestions for things you want us to talk about on live, we would love to hear from you. And we hope that everyone is safe and healthy and enjoying all of the Netflix binge watching that is possible for a human to consume.
Yes, I know I am.
Me too.